being incarcerated, you know, like it's basically a respect thing. And, you know, I mean, I don't mean to play the race card or nothing, but as a young white boy in jail, like it's hard. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's hard. And he was jacking off in the shower while looking at me, and that's a big old no-no. And if I let him get away with it, then everybody's gonna feel like they can do it. You know, and that's another one. If I could take it back, I promise you it would have never happened. If I can honestly go back, and I'll write him a accountability letter and everything. Like,
well, that's an accountability letter that I would be interested in reading. You know, it's not often that we hear about these type of actions and charges while in prison, but as they say, it's not easy to be in prison when you have dirty paperwork, as they say. You know, he's serving a 14-year sentence initially for indecent behavior with a juvenile. I'll unpack it at the end, but with that, let's jump in.
So, Mr. Anselmi, you are classified as a second felony offender. You're currently serving a 14-year sentence. You were sentenced in November 14, 2016 for aggravated battery, indecent behavior with a juvenile. Then you have another sentencing date, September 25th, 2018, aggravated second-degree battery. Those sentences are running consecutively, so it is a 14-year sentence. Parole eligibility date has passed. That was October 8th, 23. Your good time date is September 24th, 2027. Does all that sound correct?
yes, ma'am.
All right, would you answer Mrs. Stapleton?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. I see that, well, good morning. And
Good morning.
I see that on the first charge that happened 2015. And
Yes,
of course,
ma'am.
I read that it was actually a scam. It was a Facebook scam, and y'all went to the person's house. Can you tell me something about that particular charge?
Well, it was a scam at first, like everything, you know, it was, I guess you could say teenagers being teenagers, but I really got set up on the whole ordeal. But in the end, they got me with indecent behavior with a juvenile because I was 17 and she was 15. But it was just, I guess you could say teenagers being teenagers, man. I mean,
Okay, so that's the juvenile rape. You were 17 and she was 15 with that happened?
yes, ma'am. That's what the indecent behavior with a juvenile came in at.
Were y'all boyfriend and girlfriend?
I mean, we were seeing each other for some months. We never identified each other as boyfriend and girlfriend, but we had been seeing each other for months.
Was it consensual? Are you saying it was consensual?
Yes, ma'am. That's how I got indecent behavior with a juvenile, because she had came to court and let the judge know that it was consensual. Her mom was trying to push the issue. Her mother was pushing the issue on the rape charge.
Okay. Can you tell me about the Facebook issue? The one that you had a victim and it was a Facebook situation. You went to the house and then you were charged.
The aggravated battery?
Do you remember the one in 2015 that y'all went and you stole $8 from a person, Mr. Langshaw?
Yes, ma'am. It wasn't a more of a scam. It wasn't really about the money. The person that did something to my cousin, which he took some pictures out of my cousin's phone and some naked pictures at that, and sent it to the whole family. And I mean, it was really for us to really beat him up, but we ended up getting his money instead. I was young. I couldn't think at the time, honestly. I was young and dumb. Now I've been in jail 9 years. I done changed a whole lot. If I could speak to him right now, I apologize. And if I could take it back, I would, but unfortunately I can't. And, you know, I've learned from my mistakes, and I'm just ready for my second chance to be able to, you know, go out there. I came to jail when I was 17. I haven't been home ever since.
You were 17 when you went to his house a month? That's your first offense, I see.
Right.
Here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
17. Now, he did release a statement. I'm not reading the whole thing, but he said it was okay to say it. One of the conditions that he had, if you were to be released, would be that there would be no contact.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I mean, if you wanted to write an accountability letter or something like that. that he
I most
could-
definitely would love to. Honestly, I would love to, and apologize for my wrongs. Honestly,
All right, I think that would be a good thing for you to do. I see here that you've attended a lot of programs. One of
Yes,
the
ma'am.
things he asked if you attended was an anger management program. Did you? You
yes,
did?
ma'am. I did. Yes, ma'am. In 2018, I graduated anger management.
That's very good. And then I see that you attended sex offenders 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yes, ma'am.
And you say that you were young and that y'all were both young when that happened.
Right. Right.
Okay. And can you tell me something else about your programs? That you,
I'm certified I'm certified in CPR. I'm certified forklift, NCCR. I'm certified in micrometer. I have my high set. I just took my high set a month ago, I think. I got my high set. I think that's all my classes. I think that's all my classes.
one more question I have for you about your offenses. 2017 was an aggravated battery in second degree in prison.
Right.
And there was a video that showed you to be the aggressor. Can you explain what happened there?
Well, in being incarcerated, it's basically a respect thing. And I don't mean to play the race card or nothing, but as a young white boy in jail, like, it's hard. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's hard. And he was jacking off in the shower while looking at me, and that's a big old no-no. And if I let him get away with it, then everybody's gonna feel like they can do it. And that's another one. If I could take it back, I promise you it would have never happened. If I can honestly go back, and I'll write him an accountability letter and everything. Like, if I can go back, I honestly would apologize to every one of my victims, honestly. Because like I said, that case too, I was still young. Honestly, it was a respect thing with the whole situation, the whole scenario. It was a respect thing. And it just happened how it happened, and I regret it. I honestly do. I regret it a lot.
See something. It's a miracle he didn't die. He was stabbed in his head and his torso. I mean, that could have been a murder.
Yes,
So that's more than you got to respect me. I can see hitting somebody in the jaw and say, "Don't do this to me," but it got somebody with. And
well,
yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off, but see, what they didn't put in the report is he also had a weapon. He just didn't hit me with it. Yeah, he didn't hit me with it. He also had a weapon though. He just didn't get a chance to hit me with his weapon. I'm not with the knives and all that. I'm not really too much with that. But to protect myself, I'd have to.
I understand.
I had to protect myself, and he was a big boy. I don't know if y'all got the pictures. He was a big boy.
Okay, well, for myself, that's all my questions, and then I'll pass it to my.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Mr. Anselmi, let me advise you that there is opposition by the sentencing judge, by the sheriff in Washita Parish, the police chief in Monroe, and West Monroe are all opposed to an early release for you.
Ma'am, I'm
just letting you know.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Not to you about it, but you need to be aware of it.
Right.
So what is it? You said you've been in jail 9 years. What do you,
Yes,
you have a job?
Yes, ma'am. My Jordan Tron actually has me a job. My cousin that's on here right now, he has me a job.
What do you do in prison?
I haven't had a job. My father was trying to get me shipped down south to be on a road crew as a weed eater and lawnmower, doing that. But they never gave me a job. It's hard to get a job in jail. Like, you have to honestly tell on something to get a job. And
yeah, you never asked for a job.
Yes, ma'am. I wrote plenty of requests in a lot of facilities that I've been in.
You were in work release at one point in time. What happened there?
I've never been to work release, ma'am.
Tangipahoa Parish?
Yes, ma'am, but I wasn't in the work release program.
It says you were, but I guess.
No, I was never eligible for work release besides my last 4 years.
Tangipahoa Parish Jail and Transitional Work Program, 2019.
I wasn't even eligible for parole then, ma'am. For work release.
Well, let me ask the officer there, Deputy Marchand, is there anything you can tell us about Mr. Anselmi?
He's been with us a few times since 2017. He's never had an incident or write-up while here. And we would like to put him to work, but OCC policy is due to the aggravated nature of his charges, he isn't qualified or isn't opportunity to work here, even though we'd like to, but that's sheriff's orders. So, but no, since he's been here with us, he's been a model inmate for us.
All right, good to hear. Thank you, sir. We'll hear from the folks that want to speak on your behalf. First, we'd like to hear from your mother, Ms. Broussard.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Broussard, what would you like us to know? Your microphone's on mute. We can't hear you. Unmute your mic, please.
Can you hear me now?
Ma'am.
Okay. I just think Brant, he's a great kid. He really is. He's had some misfortune, some unfortunate incidents, but he's a great kid. He has a job waiting on him. He has a residence waiting on him, and he has a whole community waiting on him. We just want him to come home.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. We appreciate you joining us this morning. And
Thank
Jordan Trahan, we'd like to hear from you.
Yes, ma'am. Pretty much what I wanted to say is being in contact with him from the beginning. It was rough, the first couple years, but the past I can say like 4 years, he has grown a lot. I can call myself somewhat of a mentor for him. I just really wanted to come join the meeting to show my support, let you guys know that he does have a job waiting. I have been running my own company for about 3.5, 4 years, and I would love to have him by my side. As soon as he does get an opportunity to be released, I'll be there for him to kind of help him get back into the swing of things with society, getting him on the right track, maybe potentially opening up his own business.
Okay, thank you, sir, for joining us this morning. I just have one more question, Mr. Anselmi. You have a loss of good time in March of 2021. What was that for?
A phone?
That's why when you were at Riverbend?
Yes, ma'am.
That was the con.
Is that your last write-up?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a problem with drugs, alcohol when you was on the street?
Yes, sir.
Have you taken any classes for that?
I was in substance abuse, but they shipped me from I think it was, I want to say Caldwell. I was in substance abuse, but they shipped me before I can finish it.
Do you think you need substance abuse treatment?
I haven't done drugs in over 4 years, I think, sir. I think it's 4 years. I haven't done any drugs.
Right, but they can come back to haunt you, you know.
Right.
That.
Once an addict, always an addict, most definitely. But
I want to hear that. Okay.
No.
Anything you want to say to us before we vote?
yes, ma'am. I'd honestly just love a second chance. Like I said, I'm a second time offender, but both of my offenders, I've only been in jail one time my entire life. This is the first time, and I promise you it's going to be the last. I just need my second chance so I can come show my family. My mom needs me very bad. I just would love for my second chance, please.
All right. Pen prepared to vote? We have a motion for executive session by Mrs. Stapleton, second by Mr. Freeman. Can you do the roll call, please?
Cheryl Arnott.
Yes.
Steve Freeman.
Yes.
Pamela Stapleton.
Yes.
Mr. Anselmi, we have voted. We will be in executive session for just a few moments to discuss confidential matters. Just stand by. We'll be right back.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Anselmi, we are back in regular session. It's 10:35 and we are ready to vote, and Mrs. Stapleton will be voting first.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Anselmi, my vote is to grant you parole today. And I'll have a special condition of that you attend Thinking for Change. And see your mother on Zoom. You know what it's like to be a mother, so and I know that your cousin has been waiting for you. So I'm so happy you have good family support. And I pray with them that from this day forward, your life is different and improved and that you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
All right, Mr. Freeman.
Okay, Mr. Anselmi, my vote is also gonna be grant conditional upon you completing that class. You have no contact whatsoever with any of the victims.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, sir.
if you get around those victims, you best leave.
Yes, sir.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
And I'm kind of worried about your drug problem, but you can be living in Abbeville, so the closest place we got for you would be Lafayette. Do they have some AA meetings in Abbeville?
Yes, sir.
Let's start out taking 2 of those for the first a week, for the first 6 months, and then you decide.
I sure will, sir.
Okay.
I thank y'all so much.
All right, Mr. Anselmi, I do concur with my colleagues. My vote today is to grant your parole with those stipulations. Now, listen, you have to take the thinking for change prior to release.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
So
ma'am.
we'll get you, I don't know if they have it there. If they don't, we're gonna.
They do. They do.
Okay, so we'll get you enrolled in that program.
Yes,
And then,
ma'am.
after release, you, attend 2 AA meetings a week for 6 months, and then as you think you need to, no
Yes, ma'am.
contact with any of your victims whatsoever.
Yes, ma'am. Thank y'all so much.
You look, you're a second offender, but you got 3 crimes, and we don't want to see you again.
It's I'm never coming back to jail. I can promise y'all that.
All right, good deal.
I thank y'all so much.
We're gonna sign off at 10:37. Thanks, Deputy Marshall, for accommodating us this morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's unpack this. The information that Richard provided, we'll talk about the initial crime that he was locked up for. We'll also talk about the stabbing. And then for those of you curious who were the woman with the child that came in at the last second, that was his sister. Now this is the pictures of them when they were 17 years old. That's accurate when they're initially locked up. But what I'm confused about is the age of his initial victims. And the reason I'm confused is because it contradicts the legislation of Louisiana. So it was on March 1st in 2015 when the sheriff's office received a report about a simple sexual assault involving 2 17-year-old males, so him and his co-defendant. They said that the 2 males picked up 2 female juveniles from Lafayette, brought them to a residence where the juveniles were allegedly given liquor and the devil's lettuce and then were sexually assaulted. Now, they were charged with 1 count of simple sexual assault. There was no bond set, but it does show that they were and also contributing to child delinquency. Okay, so now what I'm confused about is you look at the legislation for Louisiana, and it says right here that this is how they define molestation of juvenile, and that is anyone who is over the age of 17 of any lewd or lascivious act upon the person in the presence of a child under the age of 17 where there is a difference of or greater than 2 years between the 2 persons. So remember, they were 17 and he claims that his victim was 15. That's a 2-year gap. Now, the only thing that I can think of is that he lied and that his victim was under the age of 15. And I'm just harping on this because I don't know why the parole board wouldn't call him out on it. Is he straight up lying? We know from the report he was 17. He's not lying about that. It's not like he was 19 but they couldn't have been 17, right? They had to have been younger. So that bothers me when the parole board doesn't call someone out on their lies. Now, maybe she was 16 she would have to have been, I guess. So he claims that they were 15 and they were 17, but maybe they were 14, maybe they were 13. I mean, and that's a big difference, of course. So, I don't know. It's not the same thing. It's probably not a roach, but it's still you don't just get a big prison sentence for this type of crime if it's like as innocent as he's trying to make it off to be. Oh yeah, no, she came into court. It was just her mother that wanted it. That's why they dropped it. I don't believe that. I just don't. That's not the way these things work. You don't get a 14-year sentence when you're 17 and she's 15 and it's I just don't buy it. But yes, the technical charge that they gave him was indecent behavior with the juvenile, and then he also had the aggravated battery for stealing $6. I mean, also he played it down in my opinion, but the board kind of just let him roll with the punches. Now, something else that I think he played, in a manipulative way, in some ways, was with the stabbing. And the reason that I say that is because he had a co-defendant in that. It wasn't like he stabbed this guy alone. This is his co-defendant. This is not his victim. So 2 men were caught on camera stabbing this guy. So Raymond Bowman and Brant were arrested around 6 o'clock Saturday morning. Both of them deny having anything to do with it. According to the video footage, it shows both of them striking the victim in a manner consistent with stabbing someone. The victim suffered wounds to the head and torso, and they were initially charged with attempted second-degree murder. And again, I just bring this up because he did mention the whole race car thing, and his co-defendant is clearly, he tried to play it off in a different way, and I think it was being manipulative, and I think he kind of played one over on the board a little bit. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. What do I know? Thank you, Richard, for the information. I'd love to hear yours. In some ways, I liked his parole hearing when listening to it. I thought, okay, maybe, the way that it was aired out, the way that it was just kind of presented, it was like, hey, just kids being kids. He was 17, they were 15. But again, the legislation doesn't add up to that story, and we've seen so many people lie. Then he's in the shower, he has to protect himself. That kind of makes sense to me too. You got to do what you got to do. We don't, and frankly, we don't really hear stories about this all the time. But then, as often as you think. But then again, you see that he had a co-defendant. They both attacked the guy. It was like, I don't know. It's raising a lot of red flags for me. So I kind of went from liking the hearing to just thinking that the board was played. I don't know how you feel about it. But with that, I'll let you go.
Well, like you don't go like you see kids in certain places like the park and stuff like that. You don't go and approach them sexually in a sexually manner. Like that's a big no-no. That's things you don't do.
Is that something new that you learned?
Well, I've been new that because that's not my MO.
We are about to watch the parole hearing of just another low risk score offender who has been given a 15-year sentence for doing the worst to his 6-year-old cousin. Well, less than halfway through his sentence, he is up for parole, and let's go see how it goes.
All right, Mr. Atkins, you are classified as a first felony offender. You're currently serving a 15-year sentence. You were sentenced in Caddo Parish in August of 2021 for molestation of a juvenile. You have a parole eligibility date, which is passed. It was September 21st of last year. You don't earn good time, and your full term date is September 23rd of 2033. Does all that sound correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, would you answer Mr. Freeman, please?
Okay. All right, Mr. Atkins, how old are you?
I'm currently 26 years old.
Okay, and how long have you been in jail?
What is 7 years?
And your total sentence was 15 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's your education level?
The 10th grade.
Okay. Have you tried to get your GED since you've been in prison?
Yes, sir. I have tried multiple times to get enrolled into the GED program, but I was told due to my full term date, my out date, I had too much time to get into those classes.
Okay. Were you drinking or on drugs when this event occurred?
Oh, no, sir.
Tell me what happened. What happened between you and your niece, your cousin?
Oh, well, really, to me, it was all just a big misunderstanding amongst the both of us, or whatever the case may be. And I took a plea deal. I took a plea deal in the court to get a lesser charge, basically.
Mhm.
So, and that's all it was.
Okay, so you trying to say it never happened?
Well, I take full accountability for my actions, but it's a sexual. At first, I was charged with sexual battery and a rape, and they dropped it from sexual battery and the rape to the molestation of the juvenile, which the molestation never happened. There was never an intercourse that never happened. It was more of a sexual battery thing happened, which was like, from my understanding, like the touching part, like I touched you.
Had you ever touched any other of your kinfolks?
No, sir.
Okay, so if you had another cousin that had said that, she'd be lying.
I didn't hear you. What was it?
Said if another young lady had made those accusations, she'd be lying.
Yes, sir.
You have very, very strong opposition from law enforcement, which is to be expected. Opposed is Ramona Emanuel, the judge. Assistant District Attorney Alexander Perubitsky. The DA said the Cattle Parish District Attorney's Office opposed early release for the defendant, Jatavius Atkind, based upon the nature of the conviction, the extreme use of the offender, and the length of time over which abuse occurred. And she went on to say some other things, and she feels that you could still pose a threat. Sheriff is opposed, and so is Wayne Smith with the Shreveport Police Department. Unopposed is Laquila Atkins. I think that's your mother. She said she thinks you got your life back on track.
Yes, sir.
So that's what she said. Okay, did you take any other classes besides the sex offender class?
Currently at the facility that I'm at, they did not offer any other classes, so that was the only class I was able to get into and complete.
Okay, so that's the only class they offered was the sex offender class?
Yes, sir. I tried when I first got to this facility. I tried multiple times also to get into other classes, which they had forklifting, computer classes, and they also told me the exact same thing about the GED program, that I have too much time to get into those classes. But I have tried multiple times to get into those classes.
Okay. The victim's mother, Miss Ebony Sims, says she has no conflict, that it's all, it's all family related. So she didn't want to make a comment. You have a low risk, moderate need. Where are you planning on living? Where are you planning on working?
I have a job offer into the oil field. I plan on living in Shreveport, Louisiana. I have the address with me today.
Okay, has it been approved by probation and parole yet?
This is my first time ever dealing with anything for us like the parole or whatever.
Gotta get that address to them, because there's a sex offender that has to be approved before you could get out.
Yes, sir. I wrote it on the application or whatever, and I think I mailed it to you guys.
Okay. Is there anyone from the facility in there with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can I speak to them real quickly?
They will speak to you. He is.
Hello,
Yes, sir. State your name again for the record.
William Logan Phillips.
Okay, Mr. Phillips, have y'all had any problems with Mr. Atkins since he's been there?
Not that I'm
Right.
aware of.
Nothing that you're aware of?
No, sir.
And y'all don't have any classes there besides, sex offender classes?
We have GED, workforce training, and I believe they have that training that you just said, but I'm not sure about anything else. No, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have no other questions.
Mr. Atkins, are you aware there's a detainer from DeSoto Parish?
No, ma'am, I didn't know anything about that.
A note say there's a detainer from DeSoto Parish for probation violation.
Probation violation. So what are they asking of me to do?
Well, I don't know. That's up to you to figure out. I don't know. I just noted in the record. I wanted to know if you know. So your cousin, the victim here, says that you and she was 10, I believe, at the time of your arrest. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And says that you abused her beginning at the age of 6. So it went on for a period of time. So what did you learn in the sex offender treatment class?
During the time of my incarceration and the time period of I took the risk management program, the sex offense class, phases 1 through 4, I learned a lot about these type of situations. I never dealt with anything like this. I'm not a troublemaker. It was just a mistake that I made at a young age. I have matured in my time of incarceration. I have learned how to like deal with these things, sex offender wise.
So how would you deal with it?
Well, I have the packets with me as well from the classes, and I passed the test as well. Well, like you don't go like you see kids in certain places like the park and stuff like that. You don't go and approach them sexually in a sexually manner. Like that's a big no-no. That's things you don't do.
Is that something new that you learned?
Well, I've been knew that because it's not my MO. So I've been knew that's common sense to me. That's something you don't do. Like dealing with kids, they're innocent. Why would you want to do this? So I have already knew those things.
Okay, all right. Let's hear from the folks. Any questions? Let's hear from your mother, Miss Atkins. What would you like us to know?
Good morning. Can you all hear me?
Ma'am, we can.
Good morning. How you all doing? My name is Lakila Atkins, and I'm Jatavius' mother. And yes, ma'am. My son has been like you said, incarcerated for 7 years. It's a lot he's lost in those 7 years, and that I've lost, like my mother, his great grandmother as well, and grandmother. Just talking to him on a daily basis, being from Caddo to Franklin Parish, I really think he was with the wrong crowd, and I really think he got his life back on track. I did speak with his previous employer, Santa Maria Produce Company, and he's eligible for rehire. They're waiting on him. I just really think that he got his head on straight, and he know which direction he needs to take now. And me and my brother, and I also have a younger son. We're very, very supportive. We have uncles that is very supportive, waiting on him to get out, to show that he's not the person he's been labeled to be, or to even do those things that, took place back in whatever years those was, whether it took place or not. But we're very supportive, and like I said, he have a place to live, have employment waiting on him. He has missed a lot.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Well, thank you for sharing those remarks with us. And Mr. Brian Mitchell, we'd like to hear from you, sir. Is Mr. Mitchell on?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't get it off of mute.
Okay. Go
Yes,
ahead.
ma'am. I would just like to say that Jatavius will be well supported once released. He has a strong family background, and we're here to do whatever it takes to ensure that he has the tools and guidance that is needed to assist him to be the great young man that he can be. like was stated, he does have his previous job. I would love to have him back. I'll work with him personally on getting his GED and to get reestablished into society. And we're just here waiting on him with open arms and love to make sure that he is directed back onto the path of success.
All right, thank you, sir. I think,
Thank you.
Mr. Atkins, Jatavius, is there anything you want to say to us before we go?
I would just like to say I thank you all for this opportunity. I thank my family members as well for the support that they have given me, and I just thank you all.
All right, sir. I think we are prepared to vote, Mr. Freeman.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Atkins, you're doing all the right things. There's just, we got to get you to a place where there's more classes. You need to take some anger management, some thinking for a change and things like that. You've served 6 years, you pled to a reduced charge. So my vote today is to deny, but tell you you're on the right track, and we're gonna recommend that you be sent to a place where classes are offered.
Yes, sir.
Take some classes and reapply.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mrs. Stapleton.
I concur with my colleague, Mr. Freeman. Also, I can agree with what the DA said, that they're very concerned that since you molested children at such a young age, child at such a young age, that you're a danger to the other family members. And then if your residency plan is to go back to your family, I'm sure P&P would be very concerned that your victim would have no contact with you, because that would be very traumatizing. So my vote today is to deny and for you to get more classes.
All right, Mr. Atkins, I do agree. I want to commend you for seeking out classes. You've asked several times. It's not your fault, but the policy at the prison there doesn't allow you to take those classes because of your outdate. So we're going to, I agree. I think you need more classes. And so my vote is to deny based on the opposition that's been expressed by law enforcement in the DA's office, but also agree with Mr. Freeman to make the recommendation to move you so that you can take advantage of some program opportunities. You'll get another chance to reapply. We're going to send you some instructions on when you'll be able to reapply to get some more classes under your belt, and hopefully you'll be able to have your GED too. We want you ready for moves.
Yes, ma'am.
So today, sir, your parole's being denied, and we're going to try to get you some more help.
Yes,
Good
ma'am.
luck to you, sir. That concludes our business in Franklin Parish. We're going to adjourn today. It's at 11:01 a.m. Good luck to you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
You really can't make it up. You got a low risk score. And I'll never get tired of screaming about that, because I just can't. You heard him. So what did you learn in your programs? The programs we put you through to rehabilitate you and to fix the idea that you like children. Well, I learned that if I go to parks, I shouldn't assault children. I mean, it's just insane. And for anyone with a little bit of common sense, they would know it's insane. The whole thing is insane. And the DA gives just a 15-year sentence. And you hear this guy, he's saying, oh, even at his parole hearing 7 years later, what's he learned? Oh, it was a misunderstanding between both of us. That's what he says. It was a misunderstanding between both of us. You see, they dropped the charges. First, it was sexual assault, and then it was molestation. But I mean, it was just sexual battery. I mean, I didn't I was just did some touching. It was only some touching. Dropping charges, it has consequences, Mr. DAs. And you know that this was bad, the idea that he got a 15-year sentence, because, gosh, I mean, we know how. Was it the other day we saw someone who was doing it to his biological baby daughter. And what do you get? A 5-year sentence? It might have been even less. And so it started when she was 6 years old. And I believe it went on for 4 years. He says, oh, it was just a mistake I made at a young age. Oh, he was 19. It's a young, come on, the brain, the frontal lobe's not fully formed. Guys, you don't understand. Man, dude, you don't understand. You sheeple out there, you don't understand. He's not a danger to society. He doesn't actually like babies, right? He's just running with the wrong crowd. He has a low risk score, you see. The odds that he are going to offend are low. Wait, the data doesn't no, don't look at the data, guys. Sheeple, don't, just keep baying over there. It's insane. And then you find out how the victim's mother says, this is a family matter. I'm not opposed because, we're all family. And it's like, can you... And like Miss Stapleton stated, the victim, he's going to be released back to the family, and then it's going to, you can already see the way it's being treated, and it's just insane. And it's just like, you obviously can tell the family will not protect the victim. The DA, they made statements. I guess give them credit for that, but they didn't show up. And I'll say, why aren't they showing up? You don't know. She would be, I guess, at this age, she might be 17 years old now. She could be watching this on YouTube. The DA's got to show up. They got to make statements. They got to set the record straight, because he's here putting in his own head how it's not that big of a deal. It was a misunderstanding between both of us. The DA should show up and just set the record straight. Let him go into his parole hearing realizing that everyone knows exactly what he did, that he pled down, that and he will always be a risk to society. I mean, he's going to get out. He's going to be probably under 30 years old when he finally gets paroled, if he doesn't do his full sentence. And think about all those decades of him having access to children and being surrounded by family members that don't forget even having just their radar, their antennas up, but just are complete denial and don't about the danger he is to every child. Don't worry, he knows not to go and assault kids when he goes to the park, so at least we can all rest easy. Let's move to the next hearing.